Where Winds Meet is a game that I definitely heard a lot of buzz about at the time of its global release near the end of 2025, particularly because it is a free-to-play open-world RPG. That's a pretty specific genre that viewers of this channel should be quite familiar with. These types of games get some attention when they release, before slowly fading into obscurity, whether it be because of poor monetization practices, blatant copying of other games, or it just not being very fun. But Where Winds Meet maintains a very strong positive review score on Steam, and it's been continuously expanding on that original vision with consistent content updates. As someone who got completely sucked into the world of Genshin during its meteoric rise, let's see how Where Winds Meet manages to set itself apart from the titan that has basically defined the free-to-play open world experience. For transparency, this video is sponsored, but all opinions expressed are my own. Now, for an open world game, the most important aspect is obviously the world itself and how we as the player interact with it. As you'd expect, Where Winds Meet is very expansive, as the map has only continued to grow with successive updates, but thankfully the game respects your time by giving you the opportunity to steal someone's horse very early on. This means that if you're the type of player like me who wants the map fully opened up as soon as possible, you aren't punished for doing so immediately after you gain the ability to free roam. The experience of exploration has all the system mechanics the genre is known for, with dynamic time of day and weather to help ensure the environment never feels too samey, and lots of little things to find all around. You can pick up a variety of materials that might be used in various ways, such as crafting furniture or selling for coins. You can go around fighting enemies for rewards, which can range from basic criminals to creepy monsters. You'll also find NPCs walking around literally everywhere, who offer a ton of optional quests for you to get sidetracked on. Games like Genshin don't always fully populate the towns and cities to what you'd actually expect from a lived-in space, but Where Winds Meet really goes all out with the merchants, guards, and even the pets. Most of the buildings being fully explorable also helps contribute immensely to the engaging locales. One really rewarding system to encourage exploration is what are called mystic skills. These are abilities you can stumble upon which can either be used in combat or used while exploring for their overworld effects. These are accompanied by little side quests that explain how you come to learn said skill, which is a nice little detail of world building that helps the interactions feel believable. This also means all possible forms of traversal are unlocked through pure gameplay and aren't locked behind gacha characters. This game does have a gacha system with randomized pulls, but they are only for optional cosmetics, so it's about as free-to-play friendly as a game can get. Where Winds Meet clearly adheres to the established strengths of the open world RPG genre, doing all the things that have been proven to work effectively. Where this game really stands out the most though is with its setting. With stylistic inspiration from Chinese wuxia fantasy, the game takes place in ancient China. Instead of the popular medieval or science fiction themes we've seen plenty of times, Where Winds Meet takes a different approach. Now, we all know it's extremely common for mainstream gacha games to have that one region clearly inspired by Chinese architecture and culture. But this game dedicates its entire identity to it, showing an appreciation so direct and grounded that it feels entirely unique. As a Chinese American who was born and raised entirely in the US, it's kind of surreal that I'm able to experience Chinese culture virtually in this way. The most recent update, version 1.7, introduces the new area of Kaifeng Imperial Palace. Apparently, this entire area spans over 1 million square meters in size, with over 3,000 NPCs, which is a skill that honestly sounds absurd before you actually experience it for yourself. There are also unique season-based features implemented, so for example, when you switch to winter, new activities become available such as ice skating on frozen lakes and decorating your own ice sculptures. The developers don't just let this massive palace sit there as a prop however, they properly utilize it by integrating it directly into the narrative. Pretty early on in the new expansion, you're thrown into a high-octane rooftop chase scene across the palace tiles that instantly sets a cinematic tone for the rest of the chapter. Speaking of the narrative, the story is another standout point for Where Winds Meet. You experience the plot through a protagonist you build yourself using a rather fleshed out character creator. You can even import community-made presets if you don't want to build a face from scratch. Though fair warning, some of the designs that have been submitted enter freak territory. Compared to other games that have preset designs and often established personalities for their protagonists, Where Winds Meet gives you the option to create a character that directly reflects yourself, or one that is really goofy and out of place looking. It's your choice. After you finish editing, the game opens up with a pretty intense action set piece that involves a horseback chase scene and an immediate boss fight to introduce the core combat mechanics. The man in this flashback ends up being revealed to be your uncle, who goes missing at the same time as you have your precious Jade necklace stolen, kicking off your adventure that will take you all around the country. The most recent story expansion added for Imperial Palace is particularly interesting because of its focus on Zhao Kuangyin. He's a rather famous individual from Chinese history, known for being the founding emperor of the Song dynasty of China starting in the year 960. Historically, he's characterized by his ambition that drove him to conquer many states, effectively unifying most of China at the time, but the game chooses to focus on a different side of his personality. This depiction of him is quite a bit darker and more ruthless, culminating in an intense boss fight against the lone tyrant, featuring multiple phases. The new story chapter involves Zhao Kuangyin's authority and leadership being called into question, making you wonder if he's actually a corrupt ruler behind the scenes. Beyond the Emperor himself, version 1.7 introduces 3 other major boss fights that blend historical culture with creative gameplay mechanics. The first is the Blackclad, which again makes use of the rooftop setting for a cool fight under the moonlight. Then there's the Cat Emperor, which certainly takes a different direction from the other bosses as he tries to smack you with a giant fish. And then there's the Gilded Lament, a terrifying crack-faced beauty that incorporates traditional water sleeve dancing into her fight. Each of these fights takes a unique angle to set themselves apart from each other and all the other bosses in the game. There's definitely quite a strong sense of challenge built in, which I was rather surprised by given how gacha games tend to be as beginner friendly as possible until you get to the difficult endgame content. But how does it actually feel to fight? Well, for one, you discover pretty quickly that just mindlessly attacking won't get you very far. The combat loop demands both precision and patience to succeed against the various types of enemies. There are no rigid character classes to choose from, meaning your playstyle is entirely dictated by the weapons you equip. You can carry 2 main weapons at a time, ranging from the classic swords and spears to more unique choices like twin blades, hand fans, and umbrellas, though you also always have access to a bow as a convenient ranged backup. You can change weapons on the fly, allowing for a good amount of skill expression as you adjust your combat style according to what's most optimal for the given scenario. On the defensive side, survival relies on blocking, dodging, and parrying incoming attacks. As you deal damage and avoid taking it, you simultaneously accumulate stagger on enemies, opening them up for huge cinematic execution finishers. Despite the story's usually serious tone, the game doesn't always take itself completely seriously though. For example, one of the possible new activities is slapping NPCs that get on your nerves. And sometimes if you mess with the wrong animal, you'll pay the price for it. It's this crazy blend of deep cultural appreciation, intense wuxia combat, and random things that'll make you laugh that makes Where Winds Meet such a refreshing breath of fresh air in the open world genre. Not to mention that this is all available to you at no cost whatsoever. There is such a wide variety of content available for you to sink your teeth into that it's hard to believe this game is monetized only through paid cosmetics. Where Winds Meet is available for free on PC, console, and mobile. Feel free to check it out using the links below. Thank you again to Where Winds Meet for sponsoring this video, and as always, thank you for watching.